ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। मौनेन मज्जन्मनसा स्वमूल चर्चैव सत्यात्मविचारणं स्यात्। एषोऽहमेतन्न मम स्वरूपम् इति प्रमासत्यविचारणाङ्गम् गवेषणात् प्राप्य हृदन्तरं तत् पतेदहन्ता परिभुग्नशीर्षा। अथाहमन्यत् स्फुरति प्रकृष्टम् नाहङ्कृतिस्तत्परमेव पूर्णम् अहङ्कृतिर्यो लसति ग्रसित्वा किं तस्य कार्यं परिशिष्टमस्ति। किञ्चिद्विजानाति न स न आत्मनोऽन्यत् तस्य स्थितिं भावयितुं क्षमः कः। आह स्फुटं तत्त्वमसीति वेदः तथाप्यसम्प्राप्य परात्मनिष्ठां भूयो विचारो मतिदुर्बलत्वं तत्सर्वदा स्वात्मतया हि भाति। न वेद्म्यहं मामुत वेद्म्यहं माम् इति प्रवादो मनुजस्य हास्यः। दृग्दृश्यभेदात् किमयं द्विधात्मा स्वात्मैकतायां हि धियान्न भेदाः। हृत्प्राप्य सद्धाम निजस्वरूपे स्वभावसिद्धेनुपलभ्य निष्ठां मायाविलासः सदसत्स्वरूप विरूपनानैकमुखप्रवादाः। सिद्धस्य वित्तिः सत एव सिद्धिः स्वप्नोपमानाः खलु सिद्धयोन्यः। स्वप्नः प्रबुद्धस्य कथं नु सत्यः सति स्थितः किं पुनरेति मायाम्। सोऽहं विचारो वपुरात्मभावे साहाय्यकारी परमार्गणस्य स्वात्मैक्यसिद्धौ स पुनर्निरर्थः यथा नरत्वप्रमितिर्नरस्य। सोऽहं विचारो वपुरात्मभावे साहाय्यकारी परमार्गणस्य स्वात्मैक्यसिद्धौ स पुनर्निरर्थः यथा नरत्वप्रमितिर्नरस्य. So yesterday we saw this whole discussion on siddhis and how Ramana Maharshi talks about them as though they are a dream. Swapna upamanaha. Upamanaha comparable to a dream. So all the siddhis are as good as comparable to a dream, dream-like. Meaning they are of no use where we talk about Atmajnana. Wouldn't it be nice to have a magic wand and wipe off the ajnana? Not possible. There is no siddhi for that. Why? Because that Atma Ajnanam itself is as though, and so therefore the greatest siddhi is understanding that there is no such thing called Atma Ajnanam and I am not subject to it. I am Satchidananda Atma. The Ajnanam part is the interloper, which is basically, giving trouble until this knowledge is internalized, assimilated. So this is what is, this is the greatest siddhi. There are all kinds of siddhis, big siddhi, small siddhi, medium size siddhi, bite size siddhi, and all these things. But then the siddhi of the siddhi of the siddhi, the miracle of the miracle of the miracle is understanding this Atma, this Brahman as myself alone. That is the siddhi. Then swapna prabuddhasya. So once this what is that called? Nidra. Once this nidra, what nidra? Ajnana nidra. Once this ajnana nidra is broken, then what happens? Then there is, can you go back to the dream? No. In the Ajnana Nidra, you had some kind of fitful dreams. Some good, some bad, some okay dreams. Plenty of dreams. You thought you won the lottery. That was yesterday's dream, yes. And then today you thought you're going to celebrate some big thing. That was today's dream. And then what? Upon waking, all those are falsified. Similarly, upon waking from the dream of ignorance, and the whole Maya is falsified. Maya is no longer there. Now, oh, so it's gone. If one person, somebody said this also, if one person gets moksha, everybody will get moksha. Those people are called wishful thinkers and frankly lazy, because they want somebody else to do the work and then they are hoping they will get the benefit. So it doesn't work that way, because moksha, the bandha, the bondage, the notion of bondage is in every head. It's not that every head is one head. That's not how it works. So every atma, the atma is the same in all heads, but the atma doesn't need mukti. Atma is already free. It doesn't need moksha at all. Who needs moksha? The ahankara needs moksha. And every ahankara is different. They come in many, many varieties. Variety pack. Okay, so little bit of this, little bit of that, all kinds of this, the packed up ahankara. And so therefore, this is not at all, it's not true that if one person gets moksha, everybody gets moksha. But each person, for themselves, they have to do it. They have to understand that I feel bound although I am not. And so they have to study this knowledge in order to be free. And so that the banishment of Maya in the form of Atma Ajnanam is the biggest and the best siddhi. This is what, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra says. Please do not go into these siddhis. They are a huge distraction and they are dangerous also. Yoga Sutras talk about that. And then and then every all the Puranas talk about that. The Puranas talk about how egotistical people who have siddhis, what happens? Only disaster ensues, because they go for world domination, people domination with the siddhis. Ravana is a good example. Hiranyakashipu, they are all people who have siddhis. And look where where it landed them. And so don't go after siddhis. What if it comes? Ignore it, because there is a better vantage point. It's just like you're driving on the road to go to a particular restaurant that has been recommended by some people who have eaten there. But then you're getting hungry and you see a diner, a small little dhaba. Dhaba means Indian word for diner, on the wayside. And then you say, oh, let's try what it is like here, because who knows how far that restaurant is. Don't do that. Keep going. Siddhi is like that. Siddhi is like eating in a fly-infested place. What should I say? Not very hygienic food and all these things, when there is a big banquet awaiting you, just round the corner. So don't do that. Okay, so that is the purport of the verse number 37. Oh, 38 is a very nice and a fantastic verse. Soham vicharaha here, contemplation. The contemplation of what? Soham, saha aham, that Ishvara I am. Saha aham, and is soham. You can also say saham, she I am. Same thing. No problem at all. And soham, This is not a mantra, it is a affirmation. Like sometimes and when people are in therapy, then the therapist will say, write your affirmations and put it on the mirror. It's like, you are wonderful, you are great, things like that. So Soham is like that. I am Ishvara alone, I'm none other than Ishvara. So this is not a mantra to be chanted. A mantra is in the form of a prayer. This is more of a this is an Upanishad sentence. Soham. And where does it come from? Sannyasa Upanishad. From the Sannyasa Upanishad. And in the Sannyasa Upanishad, this is given. And it is like a mantra. But then what does it do? It basically says, I am that He. I am that Satchidananda Atma. I am that Ishvara. I am non separate from that Ishvara. Soham. And so this is an English okay, and so we have we have this advice, suggestion to sit and say Soham and see the meaning, because just saying Soham is not going to lead you anywhere. If you say Soham, Soham, Soham without understanding, it will soon turn into ho hum. Okay, yeah, ho hum means total boredom. so so that's not the idea. You don't keep saying Soham, Soham, but each time you say Soham, the advice is you see whatever you have studied and you keep seeing the truth of it all the time. That is what Soham is. It's not repeating some words. It's not even a prayer. Because, how can it be a prayer? You're not asking for anything. You're not asking, you're not saying namaha, nothing. You're not saying salutations. You're just saying, I am. It's an affirmation. It's an affirmation of the truth of yourself, which you are asked to repeat, but at the same time, keep seeing the meaning of that. Keep on seeing the meaning repeatedly. This is what Soham is, the practice of Soham. Soham, Soham, Soham. And each time you say Soham, you understand that yes, I am not this body, mind, sense complex. I am life without boundaries. And I am all pervasive, omniscient. And fear does not belong to me. Sorrow does not belong to me. Soham. Next, Soham again. I'm not the sum total of this body, mind, sense complex. Soham. And again, one more time. I'm not my belongings. Soham. I am indeed He alone. It's kind of like that Nirvana Shatkam. There is a, 6 verse mantra which says, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the senses, I am not the 5 elements that has given rise to this body mind complex. Then what are you? Chidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. Same thing. I am in the form of Chit, sentience, which is nothing but Ananda Swarupa, and Shivoham, Shivoham, I am Shiva. Shiva means the most auspicious thing there is. And so I am the most auspicious thing that is there. And that also is kind of a contemplation. Here also you are asked to do the same thing. This is the practice of Soham. So now it is very easy. We are creatures of habit, and we are also what should I say, we meaning humanity as a whole, is a creature of habit, and we don't know when to stop doing something. We don't know when to stop. In fact, somebody has to gently tap you on the shoulder and said, you're still playing with this truck. That is for 3-year-olds. And now you are 33. And you can give it to your child. And or if you're 63, you can give it to your grandchild. You can say like that. So one has a kind of a there is a strong tendency towards like a kind of the habitual routinized personality. This is what one keeps doing. And so, especially in spiritual matters, also, you're doing puja, keep on doing puja. Puja, puja in the morning, puja in the afternoon, puja in the evening, puja at night, puja in the dream, puja upon waking, and puja, 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 puja. And nothing wrong, but this is, it's nice to be a devotee, it's wonderful. But then one forgets that, like talked about this yesterday at length, converting the means to the end. And what is puja for? The puja is for antahkarana shuddhi, the cleansing of the inner instrument called the heart, the mind, buddhi, etc. Purifying it of strong preferences and prejudices, raga, dvesha. This is what puja accomplishes. But then somebody told me, this was in the States. I said, please come to the classes. I'm here just for this weekend. No, 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 this weekend lots of pujas are there. And I don't have time. The puja is supposed to prepare you for knowledge. But the puja here itself has become the end. And this kind of a tendency to make the means into an end is specifically a human tendency. And that is what is taken up here in the form of an inquiry or analysis into this soham repetition. So he concedes. Ramana Maharshi does not throw away the baby with the water, and he concedes that the soham is effective. It's an effective practice to get rid of the habitual orientation. When vapuhu atma bhave, vapuratma bhave. Vapuratma bhave means in the event that one has body identification. So when one has body identification, I am as good as the body. This body is me. If the body is well fed, I am nourished. If the body dies, I am gone. This kind of a thing. So when that kind of a strong identification, misidentification rather, is there what's its name, with the body, my mind complex, then there is not. Soham is the antidote. But like the antibiotic, it has a course. Antibiotics you can't keep taking lifelong. So it's a 5-day course, 7-day course. After that, you say, okay, I'm done now. And so, like this, Soham also is it works when one has certain body identification and other such issues where the habit patterns preponderate and do not let you live freely. So for that it is sahayakari. Sahayakari means it's a helper. Helper of what? Paramarganasya sahayakari. Paramarganasya means to search for the ultimate as myself. Para is the ultimate, is the whole, is Ishvara. To search for Ishvara, to search for myself as Ishvara, or to search for Ishvara as nothing but the self, this Soham is a very effective thing. It's wonderful. Then, Swatmaikya Siddhau, once you have Swatma Aikya Siddhi, Siddhi, accomplished, accomplishment. Siddhau, seventh case, in the accomplishment, in the course of the accomplishment of the oneness of the I. Swatma, I, Aikya, oneness, Siddhau, when this happens, when this accomplishment of the I happens, Saha punaha nirarthaha. After that, if you keep saying soham, 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 It's like a person going out with an umbrella at night when there is neither sun nor rain because the person was told the umbrella is protection. Keep it with you always. And then it rained a little bit. Oh, yes, 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 let me take it. Went for an evening walk and the night fell and it was raining, drizzling a little bit. So the person opened the umbrella and enjoyed the umbrella. And then what? The rain stopped, that the person would not close the umbrella back up. And so that is what exactly is like saying Soham, 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 even after Atma Jnanam takes place. Why? Why is it useless or futile? Yatha, in the same way as Naratva Pramitihi Narasya. It's the same kind of a thing. Like if a jiva is told to go sit and repeat, I am a jiva, I am a jiva, I am a jiva, I am a jiva. It's useless. Why? Because the person already knows I am a jiva, right? So it's like that. It's just this, this is exactly the problem. Soham vicharah vapuhu atma bhave. Vapuhu atma bhave, when there is a problem. The problem of identifying oneself as the mind, as the body, etc. Then this Soham enquiry or the repetition of Soham becomes an effective, an extremely effective thing for in the course of self-enquiry, paramarganasya, in the course of the enquiry into oneself as Ishvara. But then once this enquiry has finished and once one has accomplished everything, then it's just like repeating, I am a man, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a woman, when it is so obvious, when it does not need to be repeated at all. This is the idea. This is the translation. But it has a, there is lots to talk about, even though it seems like a small little, it looks like a small little thing. There's a lot to talk about. So first thing we understand is that this is, Soham is not, is for a fact. It's a fact. It's not something that you repeat it and then you become it. You are already aham brahmasmi. You're already that. And so therefore, you don't have to keep repeating once it is done. Once it is done, there is nothing more to repeat, nothing more to discover. You can drop the soha. And you need not keep on doing this because it is obvious. In this context, especially of this how long to contemplate, all these things, question, there a story is told. This is a story illustrating the problem of viparita bhavana, taking oneself to be what one is not, a habitual orientation. The knowledge is there, but still somehow one makes the mistake of not understanding, not living like what one knows oneself to be. So there was a man who suddenly started to think he is a cat, and he walked on all fours and drank out of bowls water, milk, etc. And he's a grown man with a family, but some strange disease. He was convinced, what is he? Cat. He's a cat. And then all the kinds of medicines were tried. They tried allopathy, they tried homeopathy, they tried everything. The family was fed up with him. His wife and children were sick of him because he was just walking on all fours and pouncing on his children and then doing all kinds of, cat like things, purring when happy and all these things. And then some very skilled psychiatrist was going to come to town, and the wife was very happy and took this man for a consultation. And the Doctor saw, oh, he's on the floor. Oh, this is a very difficult case. Okay, can I just spend some time alone with him? The wife said, keep him. I don't, I don't even want to take him back. Keep him with you. I don't care. And so she was asked to wait in the waiting room. And then here, behind the closed doors, the doctor said, you know, this you are not a cat. No, no, I'm a cat. Well, cats don't talk. You're not a cat. Oh, yeah, I'm not a cat. What are you? You're a man. And repeat after me. I'm not a cat. I am a human being. I'm not a cat. I'm a man. I'm not a cat. I'm a man. I'm not a cat. I'm a human being. I'm not a cat. Many times, with emphasis in different places. I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. I am not a cat. Be there with emphasis on various words. And then, and to everybody's surprise and delight, as the door opened, and then the man came back into the waiting room, he was standing upright and walking. And he told his wife, honey, let us go. Let us go back. And she was thrilled. She just hugged the doctor. She was so happy. And then she said, can I have your phone number or something? Because what if he relapses? Because, she was a very practical lady. What if he relapses? Well, generally, they don't relapse. But you call me if there is any problem, I'll take care of it over the phone. No need to come all the way. And then so they went home, and then everything was okay. But he refused to go outside. He would peer through the curtains and just sit back. And then, then she said, what is the point? I mean, he's okay at home, but then he's not going outside at all. How will he rejoin his office? How will he go to work? What will happen to this family? And so she called the doctor after the second day and said, I think he may be relapsing because he refuses to go outside. He peers through the window and then comes back and sits and doesn't do that. Oh, okay, okay. Put him on the phone. She gives the phone to him. It's that nice doctor. You say, okay, I'll talk to him. And then, what did I tell you about you? I'm not a cat, doctor. I'm a man. I'm a human being. I'm not a cat. Very good. Fantastic. Can you say that three more times? He said it three more times. And then he said, then if you know that you are a man and you are not a cat, then why aren't you going outside? Doctor, the man said, I know I am not a cat. I'm a human being. But do the street dogs outside know that? I don't think so. That's why I'm not going outside. So, this is exactly what it is, keeping on repeating it without understanding the full meaning and without knowing when something has fulfilled its purpose. I think people are afraid of endings of any kind. So, like puja. Puja has fulfilled the purpose. No, 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 no. I have more puja to do. Puja in the morning, puja in the afternoon, puja here, a puja there, a puja everywhere, puja. And so then, and then this same thing. And we had a verse earlier also about about some this kind of a obsession with whatever one is doing, because the human nature is to cling to something that appears to work. So cling to puja, and then okay, fine. You unclutch and uncling from the puja, and then after that, latch on to soham, latch on to mantra. Then after mantra, drop the mantra, latch on to nididhyasana. The idea is to see yourself as without crutches, without any kind of crutches. That is the message of Vedanta. No crutches whatsoever, no dependency. You and the sky. There is a very beautiful five verses, pentad, quintet, whatever it's called Yati Panchakam. Yati Panchakam. Yati means the Yatna Sheila. Some of the sadhus are called yatis. And so in the Yati Panchakam, there it is talking about the lifestyle of a sadhu. And there it says nothing but the sky and just the wide world. No monastery taking care of them, no, no guarantee of food every day, nothing. They just live in freedom. This is what is, this is a very, very ancient text. And so this is, so to get to that place of freedom is the teaching. The teaching is in itself must not be made into an addiction. We saw that earlier. The guru is not a place for addiction. The teaching is not a place for addiction. And all the sadhanas, yoga, pranayama, and puja, and mantra japa, all of those things are not not for getting addicted to them. So we understand, we allow them to drop without fear of consequences. People are uncomfortable with endings and they are uncomfortable with some real or perceived consequences. Somebody is going to get mad. So if I drop puja, Bhagavan is going to get mad. Bhagavan has better things to do, okay? Yeah. He's not waiting for you to, waiting to get mad at you. And so this is all authority issues from childhood. That's what it is. Somebody in power is going to get mad, and that's really go mad means angry. And so this is what has to be dropped, and that is the message of this particular verse. What was that? Have you seen all of the? Have you seen the whole all the words? Yes. Swatmaikya siddhau na punaha sapunaha nirarthaha. It is meaningless, just like carrying an umbrella in the dark when it is not raining. Yatha naratva pramitihi narasya. Just like a human being is told, you are a human being, like that cat man. So the cat man was told, I'm a human being, I'm a human being. But then, it's what's that? If you're already a human being, you don't need to sit and repeat, I'm a human being. Okay. So then, next one. द्वैतं विचारे परमात्मबोधे त्वद्वैतमित्येष न साधुवादः गवेषणात् प्राक् दशमे विनष्टे पश्चाच्च लब्धे दशमत्वमेकम् द्वैतं विचारे परमार्थबोधे त्वद्वैतमित्येष न साधुवादः गवेषणात् प्राक् दशमे विनष्टे पश्चाच्च लब्धे दशमत्वमेकम्. Very important verse, very nice verse, and extremely important. So Dvaitam, it's about the concept of Dvaita. What is Dvaita? Duality. And Advaita, non-duality. So these are competing notions. Advaita and then what? Dvaita. These are competing notions. And then what is the tendency? The tendency is that now I am in Dvaita. Correct? Now I have Dvaita. Now what am I going to do because I have Dvaita? Go to Vedanta. And then I study Vedanta. After the study of Vedanta, what do I say? Ha! Now I am an Advaitin. First I was a dualist. Now I am a non-dualist. And this may seem like a very reasonable proposition for most people. But Maharshi sees through this and says, this is na sadhuvadaha. To think like this, that first I was in duality, then I found a teacher, and then I studied with her or him, and then after that, now I am in non-duality. This is na sadhuvadaha. Sadhu here doesn't mean sadhu as the mendicant. Sadhu here means good. So this is a what is that? Neuter sadhu. And so, therefore, sadhu means good. This is not a good proposition. This is not a comfortable proposition. It's an uncomfortable situation to say that, first I was in Dvaita, and now what? Now I'm in Advaita because now I have been instructed by Saddarshana, the vision of the whole. And after studying Saddarshana, before the inquiry, I had duality. And then in the knowledge of what? Paramartha Bodhe, in the knowledge of the Ishvara as myself, to Advaitam. Now I am in Advaita. So, and then, so the knowledge of Vedanta has led me from Dvaita, duality, to Advaita, non duality, is not correct to say. Why? Why is it not correct to say? Many reasons. The first reason is because the knowledge of the I is not an event that happens to the self. Because if you say, first I was rich and then somebody gave me a lot of money, when we hear these good, good feeling, what is that? Heartfelt stories like this. Somebody was waiting tables and then the person left a $10,000 tip. Suddenly. And her whole life was changed. She was just went to work. She just thought she was going to serve them some food and everything. And then got into a conversation with them. And they found out that she didn't have a car and she had a small child and she was or children and single parent, all these things. And then they left enough money to buy a car, changed her whole life. And so then it is okay to say, before I went to work today, I was poor. Now I am comfortably off. So sometimes people, leave crazy money like that. Some few stories are there. Good Samaritans and, compassionate people with a heart. Such, feel good stories are there all over the internet. In this what is that, and they are purposely there, and they get the most, they trend the most, and they get what do they get? Viral. They get viral because everybody is desperate for these kinds of stories, surrounded as one is with all kinds of hopeless and horrible happenings. So these kinds of stories are like little gems that shine and give the hope for humanity and for us to keep going. And so here what? So there you can say, there the person can say, before I was really poor, now I'm comfortable. Before I was sick, but now I am healthy. And like what is that? The words to that song, Amazing Grace. I was blind, but now I can see. And like this, so all this, then it's okay. Then it is talking about an epiphany of some kind, and that's okay. But from Dvaita to Advaita cannot be an epiphany. Why? Because there is no Dvaita, period. There is only Advaita. No, but there was Dvaita for me. There was no Dvaita for you either. So don't own things that are not there. That's what drives one mad. So the journey is not from Dvaita to Advaita, even though it looks like a very comfortable way to put it. It's not just, it's not like that at all. And so the journey is, so this is the journey is, there is really no journey because the seeker is the sought. There is no journey, there is no seeking, there is no sought, there is no Dvaita. So is there Advaita? There is no Advaita also. It is just called Advaita because it's a negative of Dvaita. Because one is sick of duality, you say non-duality. Because you have to talk, you have to say something about it. So then, three things are very important to understand here. Number one, moksha, freedom, Advaita, whatever you want to call it, is not an event that happens to the self. Why? And that's why before we talk about why, I always get intrigued when some of these sadhus, I don't know, or some religious leaders, they celebrate the Enlightenment Day. So till yesterday I was Ajnani, and then suddenly today I became Ajnani. This does not jive well with Vedanta Shastra. Why? Because if enlightenment or your self-knowledge, whatever you want to call it, is something that happens to the self, then we are in trouble. Because the self becomes altered by this event called enlightenment. When the self becomes vikarya, vikarya means what? Subject to modification. Before it was this, and now it is modified into the knower of non-duality. Before it had double vision, and now it has single vision. What is this? So it cannot. It is a. It is not correct. So it's not an event, because the self, all events unfold on the canvas of the Satchidananda self. In fact, it's the other way around. So, moksha, self knowledge, quote unquote, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, is not an event that is produced at a particular time in a particular place, that happens to the self. Because if that were the case, the self is subject to modification and alterations, and so from ajnanam to jnanam it went. And what is the guarantee that it will not go back to ajnanam after this? It is eternally modifying means what? So that is not possible. Logically also it is not acceptable. And then for the same reason, the what we call Advaita is not a particular state that one gets into, because a state is that one gets into and gets out of. That's why you tell your friends, don't talk to me right now, I'm in a state. Yeah, so this cannot be this Advaita, moksha, freedom, enlightenment, self knowledge cannot be a state. And for the very same reason that it is also not a particular experience. First, I had chocolate cake experience, and after that, I had some other experience. Then, I had Brahman experience. But it didn't last for too long. Then it's not Brahman. So, it's not an experience. If Brahman is a special experience, it is time bound. So, whether we are talking about a state, whether we are talking of a particular experience, or whether we are talking of some kind of an event, they are all bound by time. An experience is bound by time. And then so therefore that's why the in non-dual we have experience of non-duality all the time, where every night when you sleep you are in non-duality, Advaita. And then every time you sit for samadhi you are in non-duality. And then later on, when there is pralaya means the world, the whole universe folds up like a suitcase. Okay, yeah. And and then all the jivas get to a place of what is that? Hibernation, for lack of a better term. And so then what happens? Then also there is oneness. There is oneness in sleep. There is oneness with Ishvara in meditative states. There is oneness in Pralaya when the world resolves into Ishvara. But they are all temporary. Why? Because those are experiences. Those are states that you get into and get out. That's an experience. That's an event. Sleep is an event. So that's why it doesn't, when you wake up, you come out of these situations. It's not permanent. So that which we call is permanent is already you. It's a self-established fact which obtains all the time. Which obtains all the time. And so it is not the thinker, it is not an experience, it is not the experiencer, and it's not the mode of experience. It is that which upholds the experiencer, experienced, and the mode of experience without being any one thing. That's why it is in the form of knowledge, because Unlike experience, knowledge is always there. 10 plus 10 is equal to 20. Oh, really? The child says, and is thrilled to discover it, to count and then arrive at 10 plus 10. And then say, oh my God, yes, 10 plus 10 is indeed 20. But then when the child understands that the 10 plus 10 is 20, before that, 10 plus 10 was 20 or not? Was it 20 before the child understood? Obviously. Just because you discovered it doesn't mean it was not there all the time. It's there all the time because knowledge is unchanging. Knowledge of objects is unchanging. Knowledge of the subject is also unchanging. Knowledge of the object is as true as the object at any given point in time. And so, therefore, this Advaita is in the form of knowledge. Knowledge means it is Vastu Tantram. It is not dependent upon you. It is dependent upon the Vastu. Vastu means it is dependent on as true as the object is. It is not dependent on what you want it to be. And so, whereas experience is subjective. This is what it is. Experience can lead you, see the experience, if you have an experience, then you want to analyze it. That means what? It is leading you to knowledge. Ah, it is leading you to knowledge because you want to analyze it, you want to understand it, you want to do all this. And so, therefore, the knowledge of the I is such that it is not an experience at all, and then it is something which is always there, always there. And what about the person who knows? The person who knows will also experience sleep, will also experience waking, etc. But still, all this is knowledge that is sublated. It is badhita. Badhita means sublated. As though sleeping, as though waking, because one is not identifying with the experiencer. Why? I'm always Brahman. This is what it is. But then this is not how people look at it. How do people look at it? Well, I am, I was ignorant. Now I am enlightened. Oh, when did you get enlightened? Yesterday at 4:45 p.m. And that's what it is. This is how, I am now bound. And then I became free. So this is a misconception. This is a total misconception. Because one is never bound in order to be free. One is never bound. This as though bound, as though freed. Freed and bound from the standpoint of experience, which is not the ultimate truth. But the experience is validated. The teacher also says, oh, you are experiencing bondage. Oh, you poor thing. You can study and you can listen to some Upanishad. And so the teacher goes along with that. But there is no bondage to speak of. And it is like the student who stayed with his teacher in an ashram in a long ago. And then what happened? They had 300 cows. The ashram had 300 cows, and then all of them had to be brought from the pasture. They would be let out in the pasture, and that was this brahmachari, the student's job. They would be let out into pasture, and then after that, at night, they would all come back, and they had to be tied to their respective posts. And then one day, the brahmachari brought them back all right and found that somebody had made off with all the rope. Somebody, they were rope stealers, and they just had made off. It was too late to go to the shop, not possible at all to go to the shop, etc. And then it was too late. And so what happened? So they said, okay, let us just let me just go to the guru, because I'm very frightened. What if somebody What if they run away? And we don't want the cows to run away at night. And the Guru listened to what happened, and the Guru said, no matter, you just please pretend to tie them to their respective spots. Pretend to tie them? What do you mean pretend to tie them? Just do as I tell you, pretend to tie them. And as he pretended to tied them to one cow, then sat nicely chewing the cud. The other one also settled down, and 298, 299, 300, all of them were happy, settling down. And the student thought to himself, forget Vedanta. I think I should. The Guru obviously has some mantra to keep the cows in place. I need to know, have this siddhi. He hadn't studied Saddarshanam yet. And so I need this siddhi of how to calm the cows. This is what I want. And I should ask, he made a mental note to self. I need to ask the Guru, what will happen? How did you make them, sit down in one place? And then the next morning, the Guru slept nicely and snored throughout the night. And the student tossed and turned, and every a half an hour went to the stable to make sure the cows were still there. And the cows were just like, what's wrong with you? Why are you coming now? And they were just happy. They were all settled down. The next morning, he said, come along, fellows. We have to go to the water. I have a lot to do. I have to make the Guru's breakfast. Then I have to, I have to take you to the pasture, then come back, and then it will be time for class. All these things. Come on, let's go. They would not budge. They were just sitting there like this. And then he playfully just whipped them this side and that side, and they avoided the beating by going this way, that way. But nobody would get up and run. And he went in panic to the Guru and said, oh Guru, your mantra is very strong. You have to release them from the mantra. Guru said, Murkha, fool, have you pretended to untie them? What? Pretend to untie them. That's what is the problem here. So then he said, oh, come on, this is not going to work. So he pretended to untie them, and each cow was eager to go to the grass, eager to go to the water after sitting for a whole night there. And as soon as he untied one, it bolted. Then the second, then the third, all of them patiently waited their turn until he untied them. This is exactly the job of the Vedanta teacher. Pretend untied. And pretend untie each time. There is no bondage. And then the notion that one is bound is what is totally banished through this study. There is no question of wanting to be unbound. There is no such thing as wanting to be unbound. There is no bondage to speak of. And the Maharshi himself, he gives an example here in the next two lines. Let us look at what that is. Where did that go? Yeah. द्वैतं विचारे परमात्मबोधे तु अद्वैतम् इति एष न साधुवादः गवेषणात् प्राक् दशमे विनष्टे पश्चाच्च लब्धे दशमत्वमेकम्. Here is another ancient story of the tenth man. Tenth man, also taking place in an ashram. 10 fellows, they had a holiday, and the Guru, gave them permission to go and go to the other side of the river, go to town, literally, and then have fun. There was some kind of a village fair. Go enjoy yourself, eat something nice, and come back. Go have fun. So they went in the ferry, they splashed each other with water, they went to the fair, they went on all the rides, they tried all the food, they tried all the games, and then they were tired. It was time to go back to the ashram. And one person had appointed himself as the leader. And he said, okay, boys, all of you stand right here in front of me, and I'm going to count. And of course, he forgot to count himself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, what happened? The 10th fellow is lost. And they all grieved. And they all had various theories. One of them said, I think he fell off a ride and I think he's gone. And then another one said, no, I think he fell off the boat coming here. He didn't even reach the ride. He didn't even reach this side. We were splashing and playing, and then he must have just fallen off from the ferry. He must have fallen off inside the river. And they all cried and they were mourning their 10th friend. And of course, this being set in ancient India, there's always people in orange who are walking by. And one such sadhu walking by said, oh, fellows, what's the problem? Well, we have lost one of us. We were 10 when we came, and now we are 9. And they didn't even know who was gone. That was the problem. And they were just lamenting. And the self-appointed leader was so unhappy. He was hitting his head against the tree. He was feeling very guilty and upset. And it didn't take too long for the Samaritan to find out what was wrong. And he said, why don't I count? Because many of them had counted and come to the wrong conclusion. Why don't I count for you? Just stand in a line. And then he said, 10th, here, you have forgotten to count yourself. You are the one you are seeking. You are the 10th man. And then they all did a little dance of jubilation, a kind of celebratory dance. The 10th fellow has been found. And, really, from the standpoint of the sadhu, the 10th fellow was neither lost nor found. The 10th person was right there, right there. It was the content, the truth of the looker, of the seeker. The seeker of the 10th fellow was in fact the 10th fellow. So then this is what is said in the last two lines. Very nice. What is that? Where did we go? Yeah, Gaveshanat Prak. Before the search, before the enquiry, Dashame Vinashte. Upon finding out that the 10th one is lost, destroyed. Then what? Paschatcha, after the enquiry, labdhe, well, it has been found, gained. So the destroyed 10th fellow and the gained 10th fellow are both superimpositions, are notional. The 10th man was never destroyed and never gained, was there always in the same way. So too the vision of Vedanta, it's neither Dvaita nor Advaita, it simply is from the standpoint of the division in our own subjective vision, we say Advaita. Because, and we say, oh, before I came to this, I was, I was in duality. Now I am in non-duality. This is all just, what is just that? Baby talk. For Maharshi, it is goo goo gaga baby talk. This is not how a person of self-enquiry conducts oneself, because there is a vista, there is a vista available from where you can see and you can comment upon. One can comment upon one's own foolishness in thinking that one is walking the razor's edge of the path from Dvaita to Advaita. No such thing. No Dvaita, it's Advaita all the time. And then without, since they are dyads, you can't say Advaita without bringing in Dvaita. So that's how it is seen as a dyad. But really speaking, there is no, there is no dyad. There is neither Advaita nor Dvaita. From the standpoint of the experience of samsara, which is pain, sorrow due to misidentification, we say, I want oneness. I want non-duality because I'm sick of duality. So, seen from that standpoint, it is called Advaita. But from its own standpoint, it simply is. And it happens to be you. It happens to be you. That's what it is. It is Ishvara. It is you. It is that which is all pervasive, sentient, the cause of everything. And again, it's an as though cause of everything. And it is you. So, free of sorrow, free of fear, that is what it is. More we'll see tomorrow. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ
Thank you, Amma.